Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of three documenting our journey to fire, financial independence, retire early. Let's talk about our plan to retire in 8 years. This video is in collaboration with Mommy Trader. Her channel is all about documenting her journey to fire as well. She will share her timeline and plan to hit fire within 9 years, so please check the link in my bio for her details. Like always, I will provide our detailed timelines, where we hope to move, and how much we need saved with all real numbers like always, so please hang with me. Now, I plan to retire before my 40th birthday. I'm 31 right now, but my birthday is next month, so I hope I can retire in 8 years. I keep saying I, as my husband doesn't want to stop working, but I'm okay leaving my current role and working on passion projects versus corporate America. We basically have exactly 8 years to really get serious on our road to fire, but I think it's possible. We've been tracking our numbers religiously for almost 1 full year, and we are doing all the standard things to help us reach FI. We invest in index funds, we cut our expenses, we have increased our income, and yes, we live below our means. It's a simple formula and it's proven to work. But what most people forget to add is this. The only way you can retire early is because of one key factor, and that's compound interest. Compound interest will allow us to retire early. Let me explain. But first, what is compound interest? Compound interest refers to the phenomenon whereby the interest associated with a bank account, loan, or investment account increases exponentially rather than linearly over time. The key to understand the concept is the word compound. Now, compound interest is where the interest you earn on a balance in a savings or investment account is reinvested, earning you more interest. As a wise man once says, money makes money, and the money that makes money makes money. Compound interest accelerates the growth of your savings and investments over time. It's basically magic. Because we are long-term investors, we get to see the full benefit of compound interest helping us reach FI earlier than expected. But it gets better. The more you make, the more interest you earn. You are almost incentivized to never stop investing. But Albert Einstein said it best. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So here's our retirement timeline, or the key milestones in the next 8 years that we'll like to achieve to reach our form of FI. I didn't want to get into the details here, but this gives you a snapshot on our plans in the next few years outside of growing our investments. But I know this is definitely bound to change. Now, I can't forecast what our lives will be like in 8 years, but I can definitely try. So in the next 3 years, or about 2024, the plan is to be 100% remote workers. Since the pandemic, this has become more likely in both our fields. I am currently a senior manager, and the next role or stage would be the director level. Now, I don't see many director roles being remote, so I might have to stay at the senior manager level, which is definitely fine because my end goal is not to be in corporate America. After we become remote workers, we want to begin working abroad to essentially relocate abroad. We have narrowed down our list to 6 countries, 3 within sub-Saharan Africa. This will give us the ability to practice geo-arbitrage where our dollars will work further abroad. And by 2023, we hope to have about 12 doors or 6 rental properties. We will definitely be going at this the slow way. We hope to buy 1 duplex a year and follow the 20% down rule without leveraging too heavily against our existing properties. I am just not comfortable with that additional amount of debt. And if all goes well, we will retire or be work optional in 2029, and by 2030, I'll transition into my life's purpose, philanthropy. My ultimate goal will be working in the nonprofit sector or starting my own nonprofit or foundation while donating upwards to 50% of our income to those in need. I would love to live the last few decades on Earth solely pouring back into other people's lives. This is the plan and what we are working towards, but life happens, so I know this is definitely bound to change. So how do you calculate your future investments or timeline to help you reach FI? First thing you need to know is your annual expenses, which will help you calculate your FI number. Then you need to take your annual expense number and multiply it by 25 to get your overall FI or FIRE number. This aligns with the 4% rule. Now, once you have your FI number, you simply need to plug in your current savings rate and your portfolio balances into an investment calculator. Now, I had never done this before until now, but it's a great way to understand your timeline and help you outline what adjustments or changes you need to make to speed up your progress to FI. Now, when we ran our 3 scenarios, which I will outline soon, it was very motivating. I knew it was possible to retire within 10 years or even sooner, but after running the numbers, it became all too real. Now take the time to walk through your scenarios by plugging in your numbers into any online investment calculator. But first, it's very important to outline what you anticipate the expected rate of return will be for your investments. As no one can predict what the market will be like in the future, you can only use historical numbers as a benchmark. So I pulled this chart from the Motley Fool website and I use this for all of our future calculations. This outlines the 10, 30, and 50-year rate of return of the market adjusted for inflation. Because I'm relatively conservative, we opt to use the 30-year rate of return adjusted for inflation, which is about 8.3%. For all of our calculations, we put in 8%, and I know 2020 and 2021 year-to-date has had double-digit growth, but that's not the norm. Choose the right rate of return you are most comfortable with when running your numbers. So here are the three scenarios we ran to help us understand how long it would take to grow our portfolio to $1.9 million. The $1.9 million does not include my son's college fund, as his timeline is much longer than ours. We outlined three pathways using the same initial investment but different monthly investing strategies and review the outputs or numbers. But before I jump into the parameters, here's how I got our monthly investment dollar calculations. This outlines all the potential investments we are making each month currently. For pre-tax contributions, we plan to max out both 401ks, obtain our company matches, and max out our HSA, which is currently invested. We then have been investing about $6,000 of after-tax dollars into the market. This has been happening for the last 6 to 7 months. So if we are hitting all of our goals perfectly, we'll be investing about $11,000 a month. How insane is that? Now our company's contributions are relatively fixed, but I was conservative on this number just to be safe on my calculations. I always round down versus up when I'm doing these investment calculations. For the first quarter this year, we have hit this max, but I know life is not perfect and we won't always be investing that aggressively, so I opted for these scenarios. Because I am extremely conservative and the calculations we use roll on a 12-month basis, all three scenarios will start with an initial investment of $285,000. Then I opted for three different monthly investing increments. I went with $7,500, $8,500, and the last scenario will be ran at $9,500. You can see that I did not run the numbers for the $10,950 because we have never had a perfect year, and I doubt we'll have 8 perfect years back to back. One thing these scenarios don't take into account is income increases. As our income increases and we receive bonuses, we are definitely expected to have higher savings rates, and these are not accounted for in our monthly investments. So I opted to not to make those adjustments, and you'll see a fixed investment amount every month at these three different increments. Okay, let's get into the numbers. So here is scenario 1. I used the Smart Asset Calculator for all outputs. With an initial investment of $285,000, investing $7,500 a month at an 8% rate of return, we'll have over $1.76 million invested in about 8.5 or 9 years. Now I opted for 9 years as 2021 has already started and the calculator works on a 12-month basis. So it's technically a few months over the calculations, but this is all directional, not exact. In this scenario, we had contributed over $810,000 into the market and earned over $670,000 in interest. When I talk about the power of compound interest, this is what I mean. We earned almost as much as we contributed due to compound interest. So in this scenario, we'll have $1 million invested by sometime in 2026. So this scenario seems like the most probable right now. It doesn't take into effect different changes or fluctuations with our income or reduce future expenses, but because we plan to buy a property every year, we'll need to shift some of our monthly investment dollars to our sinking funds to pay for the down payments. So I'm okay with this path. It is shy of the $1.9 million we are targeting, but with our passive income streams and our other side hustles becoming main hustles, we'll be okay. This means that in about 5 years, we are potentially going to become millionaires. Now, I don't consider myself a millionaire until my stock investments hit $1 million. It's just how I think personally. Okay, so here is our scenario number 2. With the same initial investment of $285,000, but investing $8,500 a month and an 8% rate of return, we'll have over $1.92 million invested in this time frame. This will get us to our FI number. Now, in this scenario, we would have contributed over $918,000 into the market and earned over $718,000 in interest alone. Nothing sweeter than interest here. Now, how long will it take us to become millionaires if we invested $8,500 a month? It'll take us a little over 4 years from now. Now, seeing these numbers are definitely very motivating for us. Okay, so here's the last scenario and a stretch one for us, but still plausible. If we hit all of our 2021 goals, we'll be at this pace and a bit ahead. With an initial investment still at $285,000, but investing a whopping $9,500 a month and the same rate of return of 8%, we'll have over $2 million invested into the market in this time frame. This would be well over our FI number. Now, in this scenario, we have contributed over $1 million into the market and earned over $768,000 in interest, which is still mind-boggling. Now, how long will it take us to become millionaires if we save at this pace? It will take us a little over 4 years to get to that millionaire status. Now, do I feel like this scenario is impossible? No. But would it be harder? A lot harder, of course. But I would be banking on big bonuses and income increases or job hopping to help us get to this number scenario. So after calculating all these scenarios, I have been dreaming a little bit more about the future than before. We have already started putting some cash aside for plans to buy property abroad. Because both my husband and I have contacts abroad, we have already started the conversations with our lawyers and agents abroad to get things rolling on what is needed to buy land there. But I have to be patient. As I ran these numbers, it's never about if we will retire early, but when. But I'm not going to lie, I want to retire in my 30s so I can live my best decades or my latter decades helping others. It's almost like a halfway point in life to help me shift my focus on what really matters to me overall. Now, the next goal is to reach $400,000 invested. I will always find a way to take our big goals and break it into smaller goals. It makes them more tangible this way. Now, I'm not sure if this is possible, but I hope we can reach $400,000 invested by the end of 2021. This would keep us on track for scenario one, and if we are able to get over that, even better. Because it is known that the market is slightly inflated right now, I'm not sure that it's possible that we'll see this number, but as a long-term investor, short-term goals are always just checkpoints to help us reach our long-term FI goals, so I won't stress over it. But what goals do you have for your investment portfolio this year? Share them below in the comments. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. Until next time.